Good morning and welcome to Temple Buddhist Center's Sunday meditation service. My name is Dave and I'm honored to be of service this morning. We hope that our service finds you happy and healthy, but please know that if you are struggling in any way, we hope that Temple Buddhist Center can be a source of refuge for you as we open our hearts to you and your loved ones. Let's begin this morning with a few conscious breaths, taking a moment to ground, to experience the body, and to breathe together. Conscious breathing is where you seal the mouth, breathe deeply through the nose, and then pause for a moment before releasing slowly so that the exhale is longer than the inhale. Let's begin. Breathing in, pausing just a moment, feeling the fullness of the lungs, and releasing slowly. And as you release, checking in with the body, just being aware of what is present and alive in the body right now. A second conscious breath. Pausing just a moment, ventilating this precious human form, and then releasing slowly. And as you release, see if you can release any worry or concerns from the week, all the energy of doing, going, striving, accomplishing. Just allow yourself a few moments to cultivate the energy of being, not doing. And a third conscious breath together. Holding just a moment. And releasing slowly. And as you release, taking time to invite into your awareness the present moment, fully arriving in the here and now. Here at Temple Buddhist Center, we like to begin the service with a chant. Chanting is an integral part of every tradition, and it's not about being a singer, it's about having a voice. And I will have Victor explain today's chant.
Thank you, Dave. Our chant this morning is Dhanavad Kritanya Hum. Dhanavad Kritanya Hum. And this is a chant from the Sanskrit language. And in the Buddhist practice, this chant is basically, I feel gratitude, I am gratitude. Dhanavad Kritanya Hum. So let's begin with a conscious breath, just ventilating this precious human form. And let's begin. Dhanavad Kritanya Hum. 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 With a smile. Dhanavad Kritanya Hum. Dhanavad Kritanya Hum. Once more. Dhanavad Kritanya Hum.
Here at TBC, we practice Western Buddhism. This is a blend of Eastern philosophy and Western psychology. This new and exciting form of spirituality is dynamic, inclusive, active, and focuses on core Buddhist insights, mindfulness, meditation, and their practical application in our daily life. Our goal here isn't to get everyone to agree on one lineage or philosophy, Rather, it's on cultivating a shared experience of mindfulness, oneness, and love. Whether we are chanting, meditating, or sharing from the heart, we respect that you'll participate only at the level that feels comfortable for you. We take refuge in the three jewels and acknowledge these core values as expressions of the awakened mind: the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We value awareness of our own Buddha nature as well as the Buddha nature of all beings, allowing a new perspective of this and every precious moment. The second jewel is the Dharma, the truth teachings that release us from fear and delusion and help us realize the true nature of who we are. And Sangha, our spiritual community, an essential part of growth where we practice the teachings together and support each other along every step of the path. Let's just take a moment now to silence any electronic devices and to prepare a meditative environment. And we will recite the prayer of refuge 3 times in honor of the 3 jewels. Together, in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened. Through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom, for the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened. Through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom, for the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened. Through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom, for the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. As we prepare now to enter a time of meditation, if you have an extensive practice, then I invite you to practice in a way that feels fitting for you this morning. If you're new to meditation, then we'll begin with an opening dedication. We'll sound the bell 3 times in honor of the 3 jewels. There will be a brief guided meditation, and then we'll spend approximately 12 to 15 minutes in noble silence. Let's begin by breathing together. Body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart with the sound of the bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness, transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow, and realize the true nature of who they are.
And as the sound of the bell recedes, guiding us, showing us the way to stillness, if you need to take another conscious breath or to adjust your posture, whatever is necessary, to partner with the body, to find a deeper state of ease, a deeper state of gentleness. And as the breath settles in now to its natural flow, its natural rhythm, we simply bring our awareness to the rise and fall of the tummy. Pure awareness. There's just a rising and falling. There's a simplicity and an immediacy to it. It's right here, right now. And so, connected to the rise and fall of the tummy, we can double check with the body, making sure that it's gentle and relaxed, remembering to relax our forehead and unfurrow the eyebrows. The shoulders drop and the belly softens. And from here, we can bring awareness to awareness itself. Simply noticing the rising and falling. Sometimes you notice the rise and fall of the tummy as you breathe. And sometimes you notice the rise and fall of a sound, perhaps in the room or outside in the hall. Sometimes you notice the rising and falling of a sensation, like an itch or a tummy rumble, or the feeling of hot or cold on the skin. And sometimes you notice the rise and the fall of a thought, or perhaps a string of thoughts. We are present as all these things simply come and go. Our practice is to cultivate the space in which these things, sounds, sensations, thoughts, the space in which these things all appear and disappear. Our practice is to cultivate the knower, not the things that are known. All those things just go by like birds or clouds. And so, connected to the breath, the body is gentle, light, easy. The mind is clear, yet receptive to whatever may arise, and the heart is open. From here we can move more deeply now into our meditation. I close my eyes, and I see clearly. I stop trying to listen, and I hear truth. I am silent, yet my heart sings. I seek no contact and find union. I am still and move forward. I am gentle and need no strength. I am humble and remain whole, returning again and again to the breath, returning again and again home. So I invite you to remain in a meditative state. And I invite you to bring your awareness to the sense door of sound, noticing the sound of my voice, or the sound of the air handlers, or any rustling in the room. And as you become aware of the sense door of sound, at the same time, can you keep a small amount of your awareness on that deep stillness within? That silence which is not dependent on external circumstances. Next, I invite you to bring your awareness to the sense door of touch as you notice the feeling of your clothing upon your skin, or perhaps the feeling of the chair or the cushion beneath you. And as you become aware of these points of contact, and you become aware of matter, material, form, at the same time, can you keep a small amount of your awareness on that which is formless? In other words, can you be aware that you are aware? Awareness of awareness. Next, I invite you to bring your awareness to the sense door of sight as you slowly begin to open your eyes, allowing in a little bit of light, not focusing hard on anything, just letting shapes and objects come to you. And as you become aware of forms and color and shapes and walls and stuff, at the same time, can you be aware of the space around them, as if you were looking at a negative photograph? And can you sense the space in this room? Or perhaps the space around the building? Can you sense the space around our planet as it's moving at a fantastic rate through the universe? And next, I invite you to bring your awareness to the breath as we take a conscious breath together. And as you release, I invite you to become present in the here and the now, in this time and in this place. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Jordan. Good morning. It's so nice to see everybody, and a big hearty welcome to all the folks joining us from all around the world through our live streaming. And it's a holiday weekend, Memorial Day. I got a few text messages and reports from different Sangha members who were like, I won't be there in presence, but I'll be there in spirit. One of our Sangha members reported that she has had a major breakthrough in her practice. In her meditation, she has actually learned to float. It didn't hurt that she was on a pool toy down at the lake, but she has made a breakthrough. So we're encouraging of all those. And so, of course, Memorial Day, formerly known as Decoration Day, is a federal holiday observed yearly on the last Monday of May. And so Memorial Day is a day that commemorates all of the men and the women who have given their lives while serving in the military for our country, for the United States. And ceremonies and recognition and, getting together with family, or perhaps decorating a gravesite, all kinds of different practices are appropriate and stem from this. And so I'd like to read a very brief quote from Jennifer Granholm, and I think this is such a beautiful quote. Ceremonies are important, but our gratitude has to be more than a visit to a picture frame or to a graveside or a once-a-year Memorial Day ceremony. She goes on to say that we honor the dead best by treating the living well. I think that's a beautiful quote and something for us to take into our Memorial Day. And I thought it might be appropriate to take just a moment and open our hearts and just take a moment of silence and gratitude for those folks who have given their lives in service to our country. So I wanted to talk today, this funny little title, Insight, Outsight. I wanted to talk today a little bit about insight. Many of you know that last week, Temple Buddhist Center had one of its 2 yearly 4-day silent meditation retreats. And so our retreats that we do here at Temple Buddhist Center are in the style of Vipassana, a Vipassana retreat. Vipassana means, in Sanskrit, insight into the true nature of reality. Vipassana means insight into the true nature of reality. And at the retreat, many folks shared many different experiences. Some folks simply cultivated a level of bliss and ease, or the ease of well-being. Some folks processed various emotions, any traumas or crises that they may have occurred or experienced in their lives. And some folks had deep insights. And one person even reported that her toothache went away. I'm like, well, okay, I'll add that to our list of things that retreat can do for you. So regardless of the experiences that people shared, anytime members of a Sangha commit themselves to a retreat and commit themselves to a deepening of their practice, then the entire community benefits. The entire community is provided with a pool of greater wisdom from which we can all draw upon, whether it is in a casual discussion or whether it's energetic. As our community as a whole, through different members, deepen their practice, deepen their connection with all things and all beings in all places, and deeper their wisdom by releasing fear, greed, hatred, delusion, then the whole community, both near and far, benefits. I, too, experienced several insights on this retreat, and I want to share these with you today. But before I do that, what is an insight, you ask? I'm so glad you asked that. Vipassana, or insight meditation, is the practice of continued close attention to sensations. Sensations through which one ultimately sees the true nature of existence. They become aware of the nature of mind. It is believed to be the form of meditation practice taught by the Buddha himself. And although the specific form of the practice itself may vary from culture to culture, tradition to tradition, it is the basis of revealed to us, not conceptually, not intellectually, but revealed to us in sort of a knowing with a capital K. That's this intuitive nature of insight. And I'll speak more about that here in a few moments. So the first progression of insight meditation that folks tend to experience, meditators comprehend, not intellectually, not by reasoning, but very much intuitively. See, intuition speaks to us on a different level. Intuition, this knowing, speaks to us on a level that is much more subtle, much more quiet than the intellect, than our mind. That's loud. That's screaming. And the thoughts can be very, very bright, very colorful, very loud, and each thought thinks it's more important than the one before it. And so that's a brass band going on up there. But insight is this incredibly subtle feeling, intuiting, sensing, language, way of knowing. And that is why meditation, especially the deep dive that we take on retreat, as all of this begins to dissipate, begins to get more quiet, or we simply relegate it to the background, that's when a whole new way of knowing is revealed and appears. And so this first kind of experience that we have, this process, for example, just take for a moment the lifting of the arm. We just lift our arm for a moment. In this first realization or this first progress of insight, we realize that the lifting of the arm is composed of distinct mental and material phenomena. And they occur together as a pair. The physical sensation, which are material, are linked with, however different from, the awareness, which is mental. Now enters the second progression of insight. On this second progression, we begin to see a whole succession of mental events and physical sensations, and to appreciate the conditionality that relates mind and matter. We see with the greatest freshness and immediacy that mind causes matter, and when our intention to lift the arm initiates the physical sensations of movement, and we now see that matter causes mind. When a physical sensation of, say, for example, strong heat generates a wish or a mental thought to move our walking meditation into the shade, we begin to see this relationship between mind and matter, how one causes the other. I'm going to get to why this is incredibly important here in a few moments. Right now, I'm just dissecting it. I'm just putting it under the microscope. Our life is no more than a chain of mental and physical causes and effects. And this is the second insight in this classical progression of insight or vipassana. And so now the third level. What is the next level of insight? As we develop concentration, as we commit ourselves to take the noble one seat, there's a lot of courage to sit with the mind-body organism. It's so much easier to just get busy and start doing stuff. But when we commit ourselves through courage to take the one seat and be with mind, all alone, it's just mind and me sitting there on the cushion. When we do this, we even more deeply begin to see that these phenomena of, like, let's say, lifting the arm, these processes are impermanent and they are impersonal, appearing and disappearing, one by one, and at a fantastic speed, and very subtle. This is the next level of insight, the next aspect of existence, that concentrated awareness becomes capable of seeing directly. When you release all the mental chatter, all the hundreds of thoughts that come in a single moment, all the blame, the judgment, the fear, the worrying about the future, worrying about the past, what begins to reveal itself is how all of this operates. And then we begin to be able to see how it begins to operate more closely in our lives, how our habits are formed, how our reactivity is made concrete. And this leads us to my sharing of my experiences over the 4-day silent meditation retreat. Coming full circle, I want to share these with you. So I had 3 insights last week. The 3 insights, 2 of them were relatively small, but one of them was a pretty major insight for me. And all 3 of them share a common thread, which technically could almost be a 4th insight. So, number 1, the first insight that I had during the retreat involved what we call the Zen lurch. Jenny talked a little bit about it last Sunday, but that's where we're in meditation. We've taken the noble seat. We're not meditating to be like the Buddha. We are meditating as the Buddha. And then all of a sudden I start to drift off. And there's the Zen lurch. There's gigglings because everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about. And the Zen lurch by itself is inconsequential. It happens to everyone in their meditation practice. But here comes my first insight. It's what I call the composure tick. The composure tick is the theater that takes place after the Zen lurch. So I'm like, as if I knew what was going on and I meant that to happen. So the theater that takes place after the Zen lurch, in the stillness of having a day and a half now of silent meditation under the belt, the mind's getting quiet. Then during the Zen lurch, I could actually, under a microscope, I could see the fear that was, again, this was kind of a minor insight, nothing major, but I could see the fear underneath the theater. I didn't want to be seen as incompetent. I didn't want to be seen as, hey, you're the guy leading the retreat. What are you doing falling asleep up there? I can do this at home, So here, you see all these thoughts that come and the fear that accompanies that, which then mind and matter working together created the composure tick. So there was the mental and then there was the physical. The trying to look like, oh yeah, that's just me adjusting. That's all that is. But I could see it. I could see it not intellectually, not conceptually. I could feel mind and matter working together to create action. So it was a very important insight, even though it was a little one. Which brings us to the second insight during the retreat. So the second insight involved the moment that I stepped out of the Zendo, the meditation hall, to take a look at the registration table where we keep various forms for signing up for different things out on the table. And so as I stepped out to the table to check the sign-up sheet for the one-to-one conferences with the teacher. You see, at a retreat of any length, there are specific times built into the retreat so that yogis may counsel with the teachers as a way of checking for progress and see if anything is maybe coming up or arising in the deepening of awareness. So this is a very common, natural thing. And so the moment that I stepped out and I looked at my sign-up sheet for conferences, it was empty. And at that moment, I was not empty. Fear came through me. Oh my God, no one has signed up for a conference. They don't need me. Doesn't anybody have anything to talk about? Is the retreat not going well for them? What's happening? Here comes all the suffering, right? And so coming from a place of fear, the fear generated the thoughts. These two then generated more fear, and then this compelled me to action. And with the skill of a ninja turned librarian, I began kind of stepping close to people going, have you thought about a conference? How you doing? Do you need a conference? Or I'm slipping people notes going, wouldn't a conference be great? Kind of help process some stuff? Now, the moving around very subtly, trying to nudge people into a conference by itself is innocuous. However, the action was unskillful on my part because it was coming from a place of fear. There again, mind, matter, action, karma. This is how we create our reality. Even something subtle and little, like just noticing something, and then here comes the fear, and then here comes the thoughts, and the thoughts exacerbate the fear. Now I move to action, and I'm kind of trying to nudge people into a conference. On a small level, it's fairly innocuous. But can you see how now we can bomb countries, we can hate people, we can attack out of fear because we're moved to action? And so finally, the third insight arose around Temple Buddhist Center. As I was sitting in meditation, this began to arise after 2 or 3 days now in silence on the cushion. And so Temple Buddhist Center, with so many members of the Sangha stepping up to lead, to help, to do in so many various ways, and all the smaller sanghas and focus groups that are now popping up just all over the place and springing up. And it is amazing to witness a community of loving, kind, and caring practitioners grow and flourish. And there is such a depth of practice in, for example, our post-service discussion group, where practitioners who've been practicing for 20, 30 years are mixing and mingling with folks who just started last week, and they're sharing with each other. And there's this growth and this transformation. The beautiful, safe environments that people, Beth and Tim and Brian, are creating in the authentic relating and the interplay classes, creating a safe environment for people. The deep compassion and wisdom in our recovery programs, the growth of our youth and meditation programs, the list goes on. It is taking on a life of itself. And it is amazing. And with this growth, so too does leadership need to grow, to adjust, to keep its finger on the pulse of the Sangha as it starts pushing out of its different envelopes and boundaries. And in that moment arose fear. Can I keep up with it? Is my practice, no spiritual teacher anywhere can take or lead a Sangha to a place where they themselves have not gone. But the song is growing at such a fantastic rate. Fear arose in me. I don't know that I can keep up. So right there on the cushion, I could see the nature of mind projecting into the future, which can be a fertile ground for cultivating fear and anxiety. And as I saw the mind, I was able to come back to the present moment. The practice kicked in. I didn't need to do the practice did me. And I was able to, in that moment, provide space for a clearer way of seeing, a different way of allowing presence to open and release the attachment to an identity as a teacher, to soften any beliefs that I need to do something to handle some delusional picture of what TBC may or may not become. Again, in the same way that mind and matter, material, work together simultaneously, so too the community is lifting itself up. What's the old saying? Great tides raise all boats. Any worry or concern on my part is just fear. It's just then projecting fear. And here's what's interesting is that the fear that arises in me, and I already gave you 2 examples of how it shows up and materializes. The fear that arises in me about being able to help guide, lead, and teach Temple Buddhist Center, that fear is what's going to keep me from being able to do that. So as I release the beliefs, I release the fear, I release identification with being a teacher, a leader, a guide, and come back to my practice. In that growth, in that transformation, leadership will blossom and bloom, whether it's me or somebody else. It doesn't matter. It will rise. And this natural leadership will form. The insights allowed me to sense and intuit the source. We often talk about the dandelion, right? The thoughts about the fear is just the head of the dandelion. We want to get to the root. Purify and release that fear. Release the beliefs around being a teacher who needs to do something. Beliefs and fear around, a guide that needs to have a direction. TBC is forging its own direction. I just need to be present, and I will naturally go with it, as so will we all. And finally, for me, the insight itself, these 3 insights that I talked about, may not be awakening, but it does provide a whole different, non-conceptual way of understanding, a completely new and exciting way to know. It's knowing with a capital K, not the little k. And that suddenly expands all possibilities. And in the expansion, in that spaciousness, there is freedom. There is liberation from the thoughts, the fear, and the actions that come with it. And then there is just presence. There is silence. There is connection with all beings and all places. And feeling that, then there is just a feeling that everything is exactly as it should be. Thank you.
And let's just take a moment now to embody the teachings before we move into our heart practice meditation. And today's heart practice is an equanimity practice. So feel free to adjust your posture or stretch a little as we transition from the Dharma talk into our heart practice. Some people like to make an outward gesture during the heart practice, such as the Anjali Mudra, or maybe place a hand or both hands over your heart, or you can just put both hands on your lap with your palms up in an outward expression. And just allow your attention to settle into the present moment and experience the body. Closing your eyes, begin to relax any physical tension that's being held in the body by taking another conscious breath if necessary, and softening the belly. Relax the eyes and jaw, and just allow your shoulders to naturally fall away from your head. As the breath settles into its natural flow, begin to reflect on your deepest desire for happiness and freedom from suffering for both yourself and others. Reflect on your desire to serve the needs of others and to be compassionately engaged in the world. Reflect on both the joy and the sorrow that exist in the world. Just allow your heart's truest longing for truth and well-being to come into consciousness. With each breath, breathe into the heart center the acknowledgement of the need to balance your pure intention of creating positive change with the reality of your inability to control people or circumstances. Silently repeat the following phrases. All beings are responsible for their own actions. Suffering or happiness is created through one's relationship to experience, not by experience itself. The freedom and happiness of others is dependent on their actions, not on my wishes for them. Relax into the vibration of this balance between harmonizing the heart's deepest desire to help others with the mind's wise response of acknowledging our limitations. And let's take a conscious breath together. Breathing in, I calm myself. Breathing out, I smile at life. And in the true spirit of dana, the Buddhist practice of generosity, temple services are given freely. In the same way, if you choose to give, please give with a generous heart, meaning not in return for something that you have received, but so that others who may seek refuge in the Sangha may find it here in this temple. Dana boxes are located at the back of the meditation hall. And thank you to all of our wonderful volunteers and to our TBC ambassadors, those who have committed to regular electronic monthly donations. It's not about the amount, it's just that the monthly giving helps us to set a budget here at TBC. If you'd like to become an ambassador, just point your camera at the QR code on the cards in front of you. Or you can come by the website, templebuddhacenter.com. Thank you to Victor for sharing your wisdom with us. And thank you, Jordan, for your beautiful music. And thank you to each and every one of you for sharing your heart and your practice with us today. And let us prepare now to close the service with the bodhicitta dedication. We will recite this one time together, and then Victor has a few announcements, so please stick around for that. So the bodhicitta dedication together. May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. And with our hands together in front of our hearts, let us go forth from this place, entering each moment in innocence, guided by the wisdom of our hearts. And as we open our hands, open our eyes, shine our light into the world, namaste.
Thank you so much, Dave, Jordan, everybody. Just a couple quick announcements. Don't forget our post-service discussion group. And of course, thank you, Carrie, our delicious crumble cookies downstairs with some coffee and some tea. If you go downstairs, be sure to introduce yourself to somebody and help expand your Sangha. And the post-service discussion group is out the meditation hall doors just to the left. Yes, to the left, to the hallway, to the room down at the end of the hallway. So hope you can join that. We got our lending library. There are, and also coming up first Sunday of every month at 1, Beth leads Interplay. Beth, are you in here right now? Okay, just checking. But Interplay is a fun and exciting way for adults to learn to find that freedom, joy, and excitement in play through safe and structured different situations that she has. She's very good at it. It's a lot of fun. It's a great way to find laughter and joy all over again, and then stabilize in that vibration, so to speak. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter and our volunteer opportunities out there on the little counter right outside the meditation hall doors. And our TBC day-long retreat is coming up. This is a wonderful way to deepen your practice for those who maybe can't get away for a full 4 or 5 days. So this is a day-long retreat on June 10th, and our topic is Samadhi, or wise understanding, specifically understanding roles, image, identity. I talked a little bit about that today, so we'll be touching on that as well on June 10th. Registration is open on our website. And of course, as always, thank you so much, Liz, for building our little Temple Buddhist Center store online where you can get all kinds of fun things from TBC. And then I will leave this up on the screen so that you can see. We have Dave leads Recovery Dharma on Thursday nights at 7. We have Buddhism and 12-step recovery at 12:30. And there's just lots of things. Karen and Matt lead Buddha and the Bean every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. There's Karen. And also our Wednesday midday Buddhist study group is a wonderful group, fantastic people. They've actually started bringing in some really wonderful speakers, people from all around the world that have been talking to them about various different Buddhist practices and stuff. Carol, I think they're on, Bardo States right now or something like that? But anyway, that's a wonderful group to check in. They meet virtually online right now. And then we have, there's a new flyer that I just put on the counter. Haven't even had a chance to put it on our PowerPoint yet, but there's a Women's Wellness Weekend coming up. It's at a place called Cedar Hill Resort, and it is about 45 minutes east of us here, and a number of members of the Sangha are going to be leading Tai Chi Cha, yoga. There's going to be chanting and a flower mandala on the Friday night of the Women's Wellness Retreat. So I put the flyer out on the counter, so please grab that, and in the next couple weeks I'll have more information available, but right now I was able to put that out. So lots of wonderful things coming up. Cam, I think some of you are going to the Nelson afterwards, right? After, about 12? Oh, at 1, thank you. So at 1 o'clock, a bunch of Sangha members decided they're going to go to the Nelson and just hang out. What? Oh. Well, we're working on that. Buddhas and Bikes is forming. So we're working on that. And so there's a couple people today that we're gonna ride the route to make sure it's good and safe for kiddos, and to try to figure out any little problems that we might want to address in advance. So look for that in the next 2 or 3 weeks. We're going to offer a Buddhas and Bikes after the service. So lots of fun ways for the community to connect and grow and build and learn. So thank you all so much for being here. As you go into your day, I wish you peace, blessings, cookies, and insights. Or maybe insights about cookies.